Welcome to AHA Biz, our daily briefings on leading-edge insights and practices that shape our new normal. We're rounding out actionable best practices from business leaders to help you level up the way you take care of your people, your customers, and your partners as demanded by this business unusual times. My name is Dandy, and I'll be facilitating today's open discussion together with Mina and Chini. Say hi.
Hi.
And of course, our resident challenger, Andre.
Okay. Good morning.
So just a disclaimer, some of the business leaders we interview speak based on their own experience. So for some, we might have to preserve their company's anonymity. But don't worry, because what really matters are the learnings we can take away from their experiences. Okay, so let's start this with Mina. Are you ready, Mina?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
So my AHA hero for today is the managing director for a manpower services agency. So they oversee hundreds of personnel who are deployed to different clients in various industries like retail, marketing, sales, HR, and payroll, those things. So their COVID context is one of their key focus right now is how they should take care of their employees, because as we all know, the recruitment industry has been hit by the COVID after the lockdown was imposed. So MSMEs have closed down and around 1.2 million workers might lose their jobs, according to Finance Secretary Dominguez. Since they're a fairly new company, they can only go so far with the assistance that they can give to their employees. So they have given them their prorated 13th month and other ways that they can be supported. They already applied for the DOLE financial assistance. And they also monitor all announcements that may impact them. So my AHA number one is transparency in communication. Aside from giving them support, the company prides itself in giving their employees the best communication that they can during this time. So what they're doing is all announcements from DOLE are framed and laid out to the employees. So for instance, if this is what DOLE said, this is what it means and this is what's going to happen to us. All communications are centralized and translated into Tagalog as well, because this is the vernacular that most of their people understand, in order to avoid confusion, labor complaints, other interpretations. Aside from emails, they're also sending this via SMS because not everyone has email. They are not hiding anything from the employees. All situation is explained well. What functions will continue to operate? What are the ones that will be temporarily suspended? They are doing this because one of their managing partners is a labor lawyer, so they understand the repercussions if they're not going to give people what they needed to hear. So my AHA number two is to deliver value as usual to their clients. So the company approached their clients, since we're all at home, so those who can still operate and function, they asked them if they wanted to automate and digitize their processes and reports, because everything, they used to do it manually. So they work with a team of developers to streamline their processes and minimize inaccuracies in reports and everything, and so that the clients will be updated on what is happening as they happen. So they used to have standard real-time reports already, but since COVID happened, they updated it and customized it depending on the requirements and the needs of the clients. So what they wanted to do is to showcase that they are not just supplying manpower. They also understand the way their clients think in order to add value to their clients. So that they would think that they are able to manage their personnel well and they are trustworthy, even if a lot of companies are shutting down right now. So by doing this, they hope that since they are continuing to deliver good work and they have made things easier for their clients, once everything ended and once the world restarts, they will still be at the top of their clients' minds. So those are my two AHAs.
Nice. Do I know this person? Sounds like I know
Yes.
this person, I think. Okay, good. That's
Okay.
all the
Can't
clue I
mention his name.
All right. Yeah, no, we're not gonna mention it on the air, but
No,
good
no.
aha.
No, he asked to be anonymous.
Okay.
Yes. Come on. Yes. Who's next? Yeah, that's so transparency. I mean, I think I like the nice little touches there of translating it in Tagalog, not settling for email, trying to find the channels that really practically speaking will deliver the message. So they want the message delivered, absorbed, internalized. I mean, it's for their own good, but it's also a matter of compassion in these times. You know, that you don't just communicate and say, "I did my job," which would have checked off the dollar requirements. Good. That's a tough industry to be in right now. So good. Aha. I'd say 4 out of 5. Okay.
Okay. Good
Next,
job,
okay.
Nina. This is my bad. I forgot to mention earlier in the episode, but this is actually a manpower recruitment episode. So, Chini,
Aha.
has,
How timely.
yes,
How
yes.
timely.
Yeah, very funny.
This is inspired by our 100H session last Tuesday. So, if Mina's case study deals with manpower locally, Chini's case study deals with manpower outsourced in other countries. So, Chini, take it away.
Okay, so my company, my AHA hero is Royal Gem Resources and Manpower Development Corp. So as Danny mentioned, this agency recruits and sends workers to Japan. So on typical days, they are able to deploy 20 to 30 entertainers and factory workers monthly. So the COVID context here is Japan is struggling just like the Philippines because of the coronavirus. So along with that comes the struggle with manpower. So since there's a low demand of entertainers and factory workers now, and since Japan doesn't really accommodate standby workers, they send these OFWs back to the country. So once OFWs arrive here, they have to go through some very terrible conditions. They wait for hours at the airport, waiting to be cleared. They're stranded for hours even, and they have to be held for quarantine, but the guidelines aren't even clear. Like one of them actually shared in a Facebook post that they arrived at 4 p.m. and then they have to wait until 11 p.m. just from waiting for instructions from Coast Guards who it's already questionable enough why are Coast Guards handling the situation in the first place, given that OWA is actually allowing OFWs home quarantine. So
I mean, the long and short of it, Chini, is that it's painful as an OFW to have lost your job, to be transported back home to a future without a future, and then you have all these nightmare logistics scenarios. So what's your aha?
Yeah, so my AHA is taking care of people as human beings, and they're doing this two ways. So while OWA is assuring Royal Gem that they're doing everything they can, their assistance could really go so far. The standard procedure would have been to leave the workers to OWA, but Royal Gem refuses to leave them to uncertain conditions. So they themselves found their workers a temporary but safe place to stay within Metro Manila, which is crucial because a majority of their workers sent home are mostly from Mindanao area. So they see this as a moral responsibility to take care of the workers they recruited until they come home. Another way that they're taking care of their people is how they take care of their regular office employees. So since they handle confidential information, they cannot really take their work from home. But despite this, Royal Gem still pays their workers their monthly salaries. So what's the why behind this? This is the good time to mention that Royal Gem is actually a family company. So the mother's a VP, father's a corporate secretary, the daughters are in on it too. So they're naturally compassionate towards their people because of their family DNA. And these workers of theirs have always been loyal to them. So they're not just going to abandon them now in a time of crisis. So this is another case of how in wartime, you can't be who you're not. Or to put it another way, adversity actually reveals who you are and what your company really stands for. So that's my big aha for today.
Very well. Echoes of our ahas yesterday, right? In fact, you took a quote right out of yesterday's aha sessions where we said precisely in times, in good times, you are who you are, but in bad times, you even more so, you are who you are, and you can't be who you're not. And I think your reference to the values and culture and sensitivities of this family-driven company bear that out, in tough times. I mean, it's really impressive. Do you have some numbers on how many of their incoming OFWs they are housing temporarily in? Do you have some numbers?
They couldn't disclose that information for some reason, but my estimate is that if they were able to send 20 to 30 workers monthly before, I could just imagine the magnitude of how many are actually coming home.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you remember our 100-hour Launchpad challenge, where I had mentioned OFWs as a sector, and our prophet of boom, Dr. Bernie Villegas, had mentioned that the reverse might actually be true, that there might actually be more demand. I think that's true for some sectors. I mean, it certainly is true that Filipino healthcare professionals, particularly our nurses, are in even more acutely higher demand globally, because of the shortages. You can buy ventilators, you can buy PPEs, but you can't suddenly pop up healthcare workers, and that's. But it becomes worrisome, the OFW sector, as you have hordes of them coming home because they lost their jobs because there is no demand abroad, and that's particularly true in the hospitality industry. I think we can do something for them as well. The compassionate offboarding solution that we just talked about. So we wanna stay in touch with both these companies, Mina's company and Chini's company. Okay, so that's my take. Dandy, you have anything?
Yeah, what's your grade for Chini?
Chini's, I'd say a 4.5 point out
Great.
of 5.
Chini.
Very good, yeah.
Okay, so before we end the session today, as usual, what are our top 3 keywords for today? I'll start off. My keyword for today is hero. Hero referring to OFWs, but then these heroes also need heroes in these times of crisis. How can we be in turn heroes to these heroes?
I would like to say my keyword would be character, because your company's true character is actually shown in times of crisis like this.
Mina, your mic is off.
Okay. So mine is not just a keyword, it's a phrase. So you have to speak your people's language. I think it's very important right now kasi it doesn't matter if you speak it in English or Tagalog or Swahili or whatever. All that matters is that you get the message across. And I also have another aha, which is a happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Very good.
Go on, right? We will cut this off.
Happy birthday
To you.
you.
That's a big aha. Thank you. A big aha. Thank you.
That
Very
aha gets a 10 out of 5,
Right.
which is a configuration of Dandy's age.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's not go there. Andre, Mark.
Keyword aha. Again, I would agree with. I would take up Chini's character, but we do aha biz because it's about actionable, right? And what is actionable from a character perspective right now for companies, big and small, especially for the business leaders? It is incumbent upon you to confront your character and your organization's character. And if it needs updating or upgrading, now is the time to do it, right? Because character will truly show. It will show in good times. It will show particularly in bad times. And as you can see, the world today, every so often, we hit bad times. I mean, it was only very recently when we talked about the catastrophic financial crisis of 2008. Now we're talking about the worst global recession ever, by far. It will put the 1930s depression era to shame, make it laughable, right? We are, and this is not going to go away. So if you're a business leader, now is the time to check in not just on your cash flows, but on the other CH, character. On that note, I think I congratulate you again. Happy birthday again.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. And thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you guys for watching today's episode of AHA Biz. Tune in again tomorrow for your dose of leading edge insights and practices that shape our business unusual in this new normal.